Welcome back, y'all.
We're back.
It's the new year.
I know you guys missed us. Even though you saw us last week.
If you missed us, you can stop this right now. Head back to our page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that bell notification so you don't miss an episode, and then rewatch all of season 4 because we're coming to an end very soon.
Yes.
Season 4 is coming to an end. We have a few episodes left, so if you want to catch up, because we may or may not reference past episodes, do so. And if you're listening to the audio version, please like and subscribe. Comment, give us a 5-star rating if you're on Apple. Share our podcast. Do whatever needs to get done so that we don't have to work anymore. At least I don't have to work anymore. Peggy's already in the trajectory to not work for other people.
I'm telling you, retirement.
40. I'm going to hold you to that. I know you can do it. You just have to do it.
I know.
Okay. Anyways. All right. So to start off the new year, we're going to recap the last 5 years of our lives. What we've accomplished, what we've endured, what we've had to overcome. A lot can happen in 5 years, but sometimes we don't sit back and reflect on that because we're just so consumed in whatever feeling, whatever space that we're currently in, and we think that we're not moving forward. But I challenge everyone to kind of write down what they've accomplished or what they've been through and survived in the past 5 years, because I think you would have a different perspective on your accomplishments. I know this conversation came about. I sent my cousin a random meme. It wasn't a funny meme. It was one of those quote thingies, and I told her, this makes me emotional because I feel like I haven't accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. And she's like, that's unfair to say. And she kind of broke down everything that I've accomplished in the past 5 years. And she thought it would be a good idea for Peggy and I to share that here and kind of just share what we've done in the past 5 years. Okay. With that being said, we're going to start with 2018.
But wait, there's more. I didn't say anything.
You always say something.
Okay, so I know typically, the last two seasons where one season, because it depends on what around the time that season's ending. So the season 2, when we were ending it, towards the end of that year, we did a resolution. And I remember bringing it up to Jessica, let's do are we gonna do a resolution episode? I really didn't want to do it anyways, but then you brought up the idea that your cousin told you, and I'm like, oh, that's dope, because we're so consumed on being on the go all the time, we don't realize what we have actually accomplished or let go of, and sometimes we feel like we're inadequate at what we're doing, that we don't realize how far we've come. So like I was going to say, we always do resolutions, but this time we'll look at what we've accomplished and let go of over the last 5 years.
Yep. So the 5 years ago was 2018.
Food child.
The
world was kind of a better place, in a sense, before COVID.
I started the year off with a bang. Okay, let me tell you. 2017, I turned 30. Peggy just reminded me because I suck at math. The math wasn't mathing, and she checked me on it.
But if it's not good, I'm not trying to say I'm that much older than you.
Yeah. So when I turned 30 in 2017, I'm only bringing it back because it's context.
Yeah.
I was already in a really rocky place with my significant other who I lived with, and it was just getting out of control. And there was one point where I temporarily moved out, and it was kind of this is the last straw. You have to figure something out for this to work out, because I'm not going to move back. And I was gradually in the process of moving in. Maybe staying a weekend, whatever. So 2018, January, I went out for my sister's birthday, and I ended up going for convenience, because everybody was drunk and I didn't want anyone driving all the way to where I lived, because it was on the North Shore and we're on the South Shore. I said I would stay at my mother's house, and then my boyfriend at the time was supposed to pick me up that morning, the next day. So we get to my mom's house, and my mom, of course, always got food on deck. So I heated up a plate of spaghetti, drunk as fuck. When I say drunk as fuck, I mean drunk. And I was like kind of missing my boyfriend, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna text him. But then I got a message on Facebook, and that message was from what I thought was his ex-wife, but found out that they never officially got divorced. And she was pleading with me to convince him to file for divorce. So I stopped eating spaghetti. And my heart dropped, because I'm just like, when we first met, he did tell me he was married, and he did say he got a divorce. So I'm confused as to why he thinks he got a divorce and she's saying they didn't. And so I asked for proof. I was like, I need you to send me something. Like, did you communicate this to him? Because he's under the impression. She's like, no, I've been reaching out to him for 4 years now. And me and him were together at that time, 3 going on 4 years. Okay. So that happened, and I approached him about it. He denied that he ever was contacted by her, but that he would expeditiously file for a divorce. But for some reason, that just didn't sit right with me. It's like, something's missing. Like, he's not telling me the full truth. Mm-hmm. So the next day, because he picked me up that morning and I went to the house, he was in the shower and I went through his phone. And I seen all the text messages of them going back and forth and him telling her and reaffirming to her that he would file for divorce. I don't know why he dragged his feet on it. I don't even care anymore. Mm-hmm. But that kind of was a stepping stone for me to kind of make that move to just leave. So I left. I'm just recapping my 2018. I'm trying to make it quick.
I don't care. Go ahead.
And so I eventually finally smothered up the energy to leave after he pleaded with me to stay. I ended up borrowing money. This is context, okay, guys? Borrowing money from my cousin and my mom because I had no money to my name. So I could move into my own apartment because I didn't want to live with anybody. A substantial amount of money from my cousin and my mom. And I moved in, no furniture, just some clothes, some few kitchen items, nothing else. I actually slept on an air mattress for 6 months because I didn't feel comfortable purchasing any furniture when I owe thousands of dollars to both my mom and my cousin. And I wasn't going to buy furniture until that debt was paid off. Mm-hmm. So I slept on an air mattress for 6 months when I moved out. Mm-hmm. But prior to me moving out, like the week that I moved out, I had already planned a girls' weekend with my high school friends, who are my best friends. We all turned 30 by that time, which was June. And we were like, oh, let's just we're so busy, like, let's just all get together for a week. Let's go up to, like, New Hampshire. I don't know if it was New Hampshire. I can't remember if it was New Hampshire or Maine. We went up there and just spent the whole week together, which was needed for me because I was like, I was in the process of moving, dissolving a relationship where I thought I was going to be with forever. And I was just in a really bad headspace. So being with my girls for a week, just being there for each other and just kind of catching up with each other was needed. So when I moved out, immediately after, we went to the girls' week trip. And then I came back, slept on an air mattress for 6 months, finally paid off my debt, started gradually buying furniture. What else did I do? That's pretty much 2018. I did a lot of reflecting. There was a lot of crying in that apartment. It was my favorite apartment. You remember that apartment?
I like that apartment.
I love that apartment. I'm so sad I gave it away, but I left. I mean, I gave it away, but like I moved. But yeah, that apartment was like my space for healing. So I'll be forever grateful for that apartment. So that was my 2018. Started off with a bang. Caught up with my girls. They reaffirmed me that they're always going to be there for me, that I got this, and I'm going to do this. My family had my back as fucking always. And I just kind of thugged it out. Like, I was on an air mattress, crying like every day for no reason.
Did you ever, like, slide down the wall effect? Crying?
No, bitch, stop. But I was crying on that air mattress. It was bad. It was so bad. I was working so much, a massive amount of overtime, just so I can avoid going home and crying. So yeah, And then my family was adamant on taking me out because in that relationship, he didn't like me going out at all. So I was never really around family events and stuff. And my family made it a point, like, get your fucking ass together and let's go out. You're not sitting in this house. You're not going to be fucking crying all night. We're going to make up for the years that we didn't get to see you because whatever the case was with your relationships. My family was, yeah. Yep. What about you? What was your 2018?
I paid off my car. The Honda that I had. Honda Accord.
My favorite little Honda. I actually liked your putt-putt cars.
First of all, the putt-putt was the Civic.
I know. But like...
That one I paid straight
the Honda, in comparison to what you have now, is a putt-putt.
Okay. But...
I
didn't see the second one as a putt-putt because that one you came with me to get it.
And I loved it.
Like, I think it was because of you because I was like, I need you to come with me. And the guy was like, someone might take it. I was like, well, can I just leave $50 down on it so I can come back and get it? But this was back in 2018. So
yeah, I'm sure $50 ain't going to be sufficient enough.
Right, 2013. And I paid it off in 2018.
Yeah.
Celebrated my mom's 65th birthday that year. She had turned 65.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 65? 65th. And she was supposed to retire. Homegirl still working, y'all. I told her to give us our money back for false advertisement.
Like your next retirement, your official retirement, you're paying for that.
Exactly. She on her own with that. I traveled to NYC alone. That was my first trip I took by myself. Like, got on a bus and went. I went during April vacation. I left like that Saturday. Left that Saturday. Came back on a Tuesday or Wednesday. I went to the museum. I went to the Museum of Sex out there. I went to the Sugar Factory. I went to some mall in there. Where did I go? I went to a few other places. And then luckily one of my niece's friends lived in Brooklyn, I believe. I met her. Went to Hookah Lounge and all this other stuff. So I was able to venture off on my own, but still aware of my surroundings, of course. So that was pretty cool. Then that spring, May, I went to DC with a few of my friends. We went together. Got a dope ass deal. That year, also my first group of students graduated. So these are the kids that when I started as a sub, were freshmen.
Wow. And
I had remember telling my boss, I don't want to be here. Can you transfer me up to the upperclassmen? These kids are hella immature. No. Eventually, were they still immature by the time they got to me, their junior, senior year? Yes, but they still had a level of maturity about them. So they were my first batch that, like, I had them as my full rotation kids, and they graduated. I think this year or last year, most of them have already graduated from college.
Wow.
Crazy, right? Time flies. I attended, like, my first Chris Brown concert that year. It was at Mansfield, like, the Xfinity Center. Remember? Went there, and then literally the next day I had to get up and drive to Canada with my parents. We went to Montreal. Did a lot. And then literally came back from Canada. Then, like, the end of that week, hopped on a flight and went to Atlanta. I was just traveling. There's other stuff that took place in 2018.
When did you break up with your ex before your current boyfriend? When did you break up with?
The photographer?
Yeah.
2016, right before I turned 30.
So I want to say this was the year that I realized that 2018 was when I realized Peggy was in her bag. Like, she, not like realized, like, I always knew, like, her potential, but, like, she, I think, exuded the potential that I seen. Meaning, like, she was going out more. She was, like, taking photos of herself. Like, she was just, like, showing the fuck out as she should have. Like, I know, like, he used to take photos of you because he was a photographer and stuff like that, but I feel like you were just going out more and just, like, going out more and doing and wearing less. It was fucking...
That's what Drake said. Whatever Drake said.
She did that. And I remember, I think one of my I think it was either my niece or, I don't know who it was, but they was like, oh my God, I see Peggy out here doing her thing. And I was just like, yeah, she a hoe. She be in a hoe right now. She in her hoe phase. She wasn't really in her whole phase, but what I mean is, like, she was just out there. Like, she was posting more. She was, like, really just, like, putting herself together and, like, you know, traveling. It was dope to see because I realized, like, she was never like that. She was going to clubs. Like, I remember you taking videos of you in the club, and I was like, who the fuck is this, and where the hell is she at?
I only went because it was for a friend's birthday. Trust and believe, I don't like clubs.
Yeah.
I hate them. I prefer to
But
do
you
a
look like
lounge.
you had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I prefer to do a lounge or like a chill spot. Like, you can have a good time. You can hear people and talk and stuff. I don't really care for clubs, but if I do go, at the times when I was going, it was because it was a friend's birthday, because they wanted to do it.
I don't want to say it was confidence, because you had confidence, but I feel like you was just more like, I'm that bitch. That was the energy you were
It may
giving.
seem to the human eye that I had confidence, but trust and believe.
You were dying.
Dying inside. Y'all don't understand how shy I am. The shyness has dwindled a little bit, but the timid part, I get it from my mother. Like, she, as much as a little firecracker that she is, which is weird, she is shy. She, like, for me, you couldn't get me. Like, when my mother used to bring me to her, like, other church gatherings, all you had to do was stand up and say, oh, these are the guests. I come on, I ain't getting up. Mind you, they're not going to ask me to speak or whatever, because they assume I didn't know how to speak Creole, because I only spoke English. And I'm like, good, keep it that way. Don't bother me. But my mother would be the one that spoke. But she gets shy too. So I think I get it from her. I don't like speaking in public. I'm petrified of speaking in public. People be like, well, how are you a teacher? I'm like, speaking in front of teenagers is totally different thing. Speaking in front of your peers is different. I feel like they're more judgmental than what my students would be. I'm not saying my students wouldn't judge me, but it's not on that level.
You don't even know. You haven't even experienced life. Like,
yeah,
I can't even take your judgment serious.
Right. So with them, it's like some of them will offer like points, like certain things where they feel like a teacher can do better.
Yeah.
But it's never like rude. They don't mean harm by it.
Yeah.
But like with adults, it's different. It's like, are you really giving me advice, or are you really hella criticizing me to be mean? Like, I don't know. So there's a lot of things, like, I'm not saying I lack self-confidence. I have it, but it's not like...
You're more shy about it.
Yeah, I'm still, like, I still doubt myself from time to time, but it's gotten better over the years. Like, 6 years ago, you couldn't get me to do
2018 was definitely that year.
Yeah, because like 2016, 2017, I was still trying to figure out myself. I was going on trips and stuff, but I really wasn't doing like what I'm doing now. Obviously, obviously it takes experience and learning yourself to be able to do these things.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna jump to 2019. So I don't recall much in the beginning of 2019, but I do remember probably April, May, I reconnected with my first ever boyfriend. After being single for a year, I gave myself space and grace. I feel like everyone should do that, especially when you're coming from a long-term relationship. Don't jump into another relationship. Grieve that relationship. Detox. Come to clarity. Come to whatever life lesson that was supposed to be learned from that relationship, and then entertain another relationship. There's nothing more detrimental to you than jumping from one to the next. I started my current job in 2019 of September. I'm still talking to my first boyfriend at the time. My first boyfriend during this time. But in June, I made the decision. So my brother-in-law and sister moved to the apartment below me. And it was a massive apartment. And they had an extra room. They anticipated for his mother, my sister's mother-in-law, to move in. Because whatever, he's the only child. She did not want to move to Dorchester. So she was just like, I'm all set. I'll stay where I'm at. And he was like, well, we have this massive apartment. You're paying crazy rent. There's like, it's just, that apartment was huge. And he was like, I think financially it just makes sense for all of us to move in together. This will allow us to save because we all want to purchase, right? So I made that decision to move downstairs. It was so hard for me because I was like, I really love my apartment upstairs.
Me too.
Yeah, you love that apartment upstairs.
I have my products.
Yeah, I know. There. Like, I allowed you to use the spare room that I never fucking used for anything else. Because she's like, my products are not doing well. I don't know where you had it stored before, but
it was in my room. I didn't trust the basement enough. There was too much going on in the basement. Too much crap there, and I didn't want people touching my stuff. And I didn't want it to flood in there and destroy my stuff.
So I allowed her to use the spare room. I should have charged you for that, but
shut up.
So I made the decision in June to move down with I think it was June or July, I don't remember. But it was before the summer or during the summer. I moved with my sister and my brother-in-law. Unfortunately, we had to end that because I think our intentions were pure, but I think we've established the way we like to live, and it was so far from how each other want to live. Or you know what I mean? Like, they have a specific way of living, and I have a specific way of living, and it just never met. Like, it just never met. It did go south for a little while, but I had a lot of self-reflecting, and I realized they've been together for so long, so they're just so stuck in their way. And when you add a third person, it can be very difficult to kind of set boundaries and understand other people's way of living. So we did that. But yeah, so I reconnected. I was dating long distance. I moved with my sister, and I started a new job that I was so scared to start, but I was like, what's better than finding something that makes you uncomfortable and pushing you to your full potential? So I just took it on, and I was like, cool, we're gonna do this. We're gonna try this out. Oh, and then one thing that I did to my brother-in-law, thankfully to him, because I was trying so hard not to do this, and I lost the bet, and he was like, well, you got to do it now. And then the day of, I tried to find an excuse not to do it, but there was no excuse valid enough to get out of it. He pushed me to do Tough Mudder with my other brother and a few of our friends, my sister-in-law, my now sister-in-law. We all did the Tough Mudder together, and when I tell you, there was nothing more satisfying than completing it, but in the middle of it, I was like, just leave me for dead. Just leave me in the mud. It's fine. Leave without me. I wanted to quit so fucking bad, but thankfully to my brother-in-law, my brother literally picked my big ass up and put me on his back and like walked. Cause there's a point where you're supposed to like pretend me and my brother are partners, right? I'll put him on my back for a certain span of time, and then we'll swap, right? And I was like, okay, it's my turn to pick you up. He's like, I'm not getting on your back. Just stay on my back. He's like, you're not getting on my back. So that was that. I was like, wow, my little brother picked my big ass up. So I think that was like my most favorite like accomplishment. Like, I knew if I pushed myself, I could literally do whatever the fuck I want. That was what made me feel like if you just push yourself just slightly enough to like where you're uncomfortable, but you want to prove to yourself that you can do it, just do it. Now that I think about it, somebody was telling me like Tough Mudder is actually really disgusting because some people pee in the mud, in the water, slushy thing. There's a lot of like fecal matter sometimes. Like, it's just
people don't be cleaning their butt. People who wash their ass every 3 days.
And I was telling my brother, I'm like, it was very hot that day, and I was loving being in that wet mud. But now that I think about it, I'm like, what if somebody peed? Or, it was thousands of people.
Now you got doo-doo mud in your hair.
Yeah, now I'm sick for days. It was disgusting. I mean, granted, I was going to wash my hair anyways because it was mud, but yeah. So that was 2019 for me.
2019. Because Jessica clearly forgot something. We went to Mexico together.
No. Oh, yeah. Did I write that down? Oh,
Me and this bitch went to Mexico together during my April vacation. God. We had such an amazing fucking time.
We got burnt.
We was like, oh my God, we're gonna see
what they call not heat rash, but it was like there's something where your skin starts to bubble.
Oh, my skin didn't bubble. It just started peeling.
And it burned. I forgot what it was called. But
like, me and Jess was like, every day, sunbathe, because it's like we wanted.
Oh, I want to post videos of us on our Mexico vacation.
I come back, my sister's like, damn, miss, you mad dark. You got so what you do?
Mexico's sun is no joke.
Yeah, and we went in April, so we went it was past the whole college craziness break. We went during a time where typically most of the people were coming from like England. We met a lady, and her husband coming from Australia or whatever. So it was cool. Like, we did what did we do?
We rode a camel.
Yeah, we did the camel excursion.
What else did we do?
Did we do zip line?
Oh, we did this awesome like boat ride.
Yes, and
that was so much fun.
And each stop was like a different style of music, like maracha, bachata. Like they're telling us where it originated. I'm like, oh, it makes sense. It kind of sounds the same. And then doing shots, trying different foods.
Drinking games, yeah.
Wasn't there a
cockroach?
And did you eat it?
No, hell no.
Okay.
I will post the picture of what it looked like. They gave us like little samplings of like traditional Mexican cuisine or like appetizers, and cockroach was definitely on that fucking plate.
Yeah, I looked at that shit. Absolutely the fuck not. I'm not eating that. But it was
like cockroach or cricket. It was one or the other.
It was nice. We had a good time there. We were well rested. Drunk a lot.
Salud, everybody.
And I don't get it. Like, you know, alcohol and sun does not mix. But what we do, drink and go sit in the sun. It's like, my feet get swollen when I don't drink enough water.
Oh my God, yes. I thought I was the only one. You remember?
Yeah, it happened to me again when I went to Jamaica. Like, my feet was so swollen. But once I got back, it was fine. My doctor was kind of concerned, like, was it still swelling up after the fact? Because they worried to make sure it's not a blood clot.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Other than that, that was a good time. I went to Mexico. When I came back right from my trip from Mexico, I didn't realize I had so much points on my American Express card that I had points that I purchased a ticket to go to Cali. I ended up going to Cali. I went to Cali with my other friend, Tara. And mind you, she overcame her fear of flying. Oh, wow. This girl fell asleep, and I'm sitting here panicking, thinking like, hopefully she's okay.
Yeah.
I keep looking over to make sure she good. I was more worried about her. This bitch is sleeping.
The whole time.
The whole time. And mind you, California is like a 5-hour, 6-hour flight. So I'm proud of her for that. We went together. We had a good time. Her cousin, her cousin lives out there. So we had a good time. My first time actually on the West Coast. Never been on the West Coast. So it was pretty cool. It's crazy. I was fine out there. But when I came back, my sleeping pattern was trash. I was waking up at 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I would have been so mad.
I would wake up and I still feel tired. I'm like, nope, going back to sleep. This ain't enough. Wake up at 12, 1 o'clock. And I can sleep until like 9 o'clock in the morning. Probably lay down for a little bit and be like, all right, it's 10 o'clock, I'll get up. No, bitch was sleeping till 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I never do that. But also earlier that year, before our Mexico trip, I took my niece, not the oldest niece that I have, but the second oldest. I took her I was going to Atlanta anyways, but she wanted to go for her birthday, so I ended up paying her ticket to go for her 18th birthday. This is when Auntie had real money, right? Took her to Atlanta for her 18th birthday. She had a good time or whatever. I think at this point that year too, I started to feel more confident in myself, and doing different things, things that I probably wouldn't have done a couple of years before that. And I wouldn't say this is the first time I started doing this. Ever since like after my 25th birthday, I always try to do something for my birthday where I would have my friends come. Like my 25th, I went to some bar or something. 26th, I don't know what I did. I think I went to Jillian's or something like that. 27th, this bar called Joshua Tree. I don't know. It was in Brighton, and then it became ghetto. So I was like, nope, never mind. But every year I try to do something fun. I think my 20th I did like a throwback skating party at Chez Vu's. Bitch don't know how to skate, but I went and practiced for a month so I can like at least enjoy it. I don't remember what I did for my 29th. For my 30th, I just did something basic. Went to dinner with a couple of friends, and I think that was the second to last year where I said I'm no longer doing dinners because one thing I hated was
hate dinners.
One, I hated
with groups of more than 6.
And the other thing I hated, and that's one of the reasons I stopped doing it, people would say they're coming, and then the day of, they hit you up with the excuse like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't come. And I get it. There's people who have valid reasons why they can't come because, a child or whatever. But it's like, y'all fail to understand when you make the reservation for that group, the restaurant sets it up that way for you.
Yes.
And 2, sometimes depending how big the group is, they need to have more than 1 server. They might need 2. And then you tell me last minute, I'll never forget that.
I still gotta pay
that one time. That's the shit that made me kind of pissed off. There was like a table set up I forgot for how many people, and then like I couldn't tell them last minute because I was being told last minute, oh, I'm not coming, I'm coming, and they ended up only being like 3 of my friends and my niece, and the rest of the table was empty.
Was this when you was wearing like that African printed dress?
No, not that one. This one was for my 30th. I was in Chestnut Hill. But the African print dress, I think only like 2 people couldn't come. But that was about it. Pretty much everyone came, and that's when I kind of did the whole theme, like if everyone can wear black, and then I came with the African print. or whatever. But 2018, which I didn't bring up here, was the last year I did the dinner birthdays. Mm-hmm. If someone decides to take me out, I'll do like the one-on-one dinner dates with my friends or maybe 2 people, but I don't do the grouping thing anymore. But 2019 was the first year I did like a theme type of event where if people were able to come, they can just come. Yeah. Right? So that year I did my spa B-Day theme. So my friends who were able to attend, they can participate in painting, get a massage. There was hookah, there was drink, there was mimosas. It was just a cool vibe. This masseuse that I was using at the time, she used to travel and do massage, and I think I was trying to find a space to do it, and I think she had just acquired a space at the time, but her space could only take up to 10, but I was having 12 people come over, and she was like, well, actually my house is literally down the space. If you don't mind, I can ask my mom, I can use the space.
I remember that. It looked so nice.
Yeah, so I was like, oh yeah. So my friend Janelle, who's also my business partner now, she did the setup, and I said I want a spa theme, and she did the whole setup thing. And while some people were painting or chilling in the living room, smoking hookah or drinking, the masseuse was giving them like a massage or whatever. So it was a good way to have a good time and relax. It didn't have to be like a big party or whatever. It was cool. It was cute. I like that whole theme.
It was really nice.
That same year as the first year, I started like full blown therapy, like not starting and stopping or whatever. Full blown therapy. Also took a mountain trip with my students. It was a field trip, but it was also a bonding trip for them as classmates to bond together, because a lot of times they're so such in their little cliques that they don't. And this is like a trip for them to get to know each other before they graduate. So that was cool. I don't do outdoorsy shit, but that was pretty cool to do with my kids, especially for us. A lot of our students, they live in the inner city. They don't experience a lot of these outdoorsy things unless they have like one random friend. It was like, why not give them this experience, right? So it was cool to have. I started attending like a lot of women's brunches that have other businesses and stuff. So I was doing that as well. And also promoting my business as well, because a lot of times it's really word of mouth or when I post, but like bringing my business cards, like, oh, here's my business, this is what it's about. And I was looking for more insight and to meet more people. Me and you attended the Selfie Museum that year when they had that random location in Prudential. That shit was fun.
I have some great photos from there.
That shit was actually fun. We haven't had the time to do it as of the past year or two, but me and Jessica always have this thing, like every couple of months we do like a date night with just us. Like we'll do a museum, we'll do this thing, we'll make sure we have dinner, movie or something. And I think the beginning of 2020 was the last time we did it because of fucking COVID. But we did, I don't remember where we ate at, but we did the Selfie Museum or whatever. So it was a cute little thing to do. And I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed here. I think that was that for me for my 2019.
Let me see. So 2020.
Dun dun dun. Ghetto year.
It's in bold for me. COVID. So COVID, I want to say it was talked about in the very beginning of the year. I remember February of 2020. I was really sick, like bad, like in the bed for 4 days. Like picking up a small personal bottle of water was too heavy for me to pick up.
That shit was making it.
It was so bad, but I didn't associate it with COVID. I never got tested. I just assumed it was like flu or something.
We didn't even know the word yet.
I know it was circulating because China was going through it, but it wasn't something that was like confirmed that it was in the U.S. At least I don't remember. And I was still living with my brother and my sister, and after I was cured, them motherfuckers was hurting. My sister and brother-in-law was hurting. Every time I walk in the house, I'm like, first off, it smells like sickness. They would order groceries, but it would never make it to the refrigerator. I would come home from work and it's just sitting there. And I'm like, y'all good? They was like, yeah. They slept on the couch. I think theirs went longer. It was more like a week and a half. They were sick. When I say sick, I mean like couldn't work. Like it was bad. Like the house was just contaminated with sickness. It was so bad. And I'm pretty sure I'm the reason why they are sick. They were sick at the time. So that was like February, like end of January, February. And then March is when our job confirmed, like, hey, we'll be working from home for 2 weeks. So
everyone told 2 weeks, we'll be back.
Right. And we're all like, this is so stupid. Like, this is so, like, ridiculous. And it was like, oh, it's not in their head, if everyone contained themselves in their homes until this thing went away, they said 2 weeks would be max. Remember, it was like 14 days that you would be cured from COVID. Mm-hmm. So they said 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into
a month. Then a month turns into 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and a whole fucking year.
So when we got our laptops in March, I was working from home. I was loving every minute of it, and then I hated it. And then I hated it because I'm like, I want my home to be my getaway from work. Why am I combining the two places? Like, I don't want that. But shortly after that, in April, my last living grandmother passed away, but she was older, so it was nothing. Like, I don't know if she died from like COVID or whatever, but because of her age and whatever ailment she passed away from, because she was in Cape Verde at the time, was probably the reason. So we dealt with that. My dad losing his mom. I think he's a mama's boy, so it was hard for him. Then after that, my brother-in-law and sister moved out of the apartment back to where they deeper in the South Shore. And I stayed maybe an extra month because I was trying to figure out if I wanted to cut my lease and like take advantage of this work from home situation or find an apartment. But a lot of people weren't moving because they were losing their jobs and they had nowhere to go, and so people were like extending leases and stuff like that. So there wasn't a lot of availability for 1-bedroom apartments. So I decided to just cut my lease, put everything in storage, and just go to Florida until they tell me to come back to work. So I went to Florida in June, and I stayed there until like mid-August. I had the time of my life. I spent time with my godkids. Like, this was time that I was never going to get. Like, months with my godkids was not going to happen. So I took full advantage of that. But as I mentioned before, I was in a long-term relationship. Long-distance relationship. So while I was spending the week with my godkids, I would spend the weekend with my boyfriend at the time. And so it was just like, it was a win-win. Like, I get to work from home. I don't have to physically be in the office. I get to spend a lot of quality time with my godkids. While in Florida, my friend had way too much fun and got pregnant. Something that she has a 12-year-old, a 7-year-old, and she had no want for another child, but it happened. And she got her boy. So yeah, I helped her have that boy. I don't know. She says that like you brought in this tea, you brought in all this alcohol in my house, because I used to have wine, liquor, and I'm like, if I'm gonna drink, you're gonna fucking drink. And she doesn't like to drink, so I think it was a combination of everything. And then I came back to Boston because my job asked us to come back to work hybrid. So because it was such short notice and I wasn't really looking for an apartment while I was in Florida, my intentions actually was to see if I liked Florida, to move to Florida and kind of be like in a relationship, like now live with my boyfriend. But I hated Florida. So I moved back with my sister for a short period until I found an apartment. And what else did I do in 2022? Oh, 2020, sorry. I wrote a lot, guys. Okay, that was it. So yeah, I moved back with my sister, my older sister, just to kind of like start the process of looking for an apartment while working hybrid because my job wanted us back in the office.
2020. How do I count the ways?
Oh my gosh.
2020 was pretty interesting. That was remember the very beginning of the year when I told you this nigga ghosted me?
Oh god, yeah.
I'm not gonna go through that, but I'm gonna say I got ghosted, y'all. It was interesting. And then when I tried to tell him about himself, he was trying to gaslight me because I kind of threw him in for a loop because I knew the bullshit he was trying to pull with me. 2020, I think what I remember in 2020 was, everyone was like, yo, 2020 is supposed to be a movie. This is my year. That shit was
I actually had a lot of fun in 2020.
I'm not saying people still didn't have fun. We still made the best of it. It was just like, you wasn't expected to be cooped, forced to stay in your house. It's not like we had the option. Like most us.
That is a dream come true for me.
Yeah, as an introvert, like I get to stay home. Listen, when they were telling us we could stay home for 2 weeks, I was not gonna lie, still happy. I didn't mind it. I know kids don't learn, or not all kids learn the best when they're working from home, but for me, it felt great. I didn't have to deal with traffic.
Yep.
Duke it out with anyone with traffic. I was staying my ass home, and even if I had to hit the road, yo, the joy of getting on the highway and getting to my parents in 20 minutes from Brockton to Hyde Park because there was no one on the road.
Literally no one on the road. The highway was clear, like it was a fucking 3
It was like so eerie clear, like
yeah,
kind of scary, but I actually love it.
It was giving me, what's that movie with Will Smith when he befriends a dog and it's just like
I Am Legend?
Yeah, it was very I Am Legend. Just nobody was on the highway.
You see that tumbleweed going on.
And South Shore traffic is fucking hell.
That tumbleweed just going across the screen. So one of the few last outings that I was able to do before COVID hit us, we went on that museum date and then went up Cheesecake Factory after that. I think it was the Nubian exhibit that was shown that year.
Where?
Museum of Fine Arts. Then like literally like towards the end of my February break, I went to a silent party with my friend Sandra, and also towards the end of 2019.
I find that shit so weird. Silent parties.
So it's like
I know what it is,
but it's fun.
No, it's not. It looks dumb.
It's when you look at it on a video aspect, you don't hear the fucking music because you on the outside looking in.
It's giving me those videos where they remove the audio and it's just sneakers screeching on the floor. That's what it's giving, and I hate it.
Those shits are funny, but it's kind of
again.
dope.
Don't ever touch me like that again.
Shut up. Shut up. Bitch, let me remind you.
Keep your hands to yourself.
No, it was funny because it was interesting because there's 3 DJs in the room and one has hip hop, rap, reggae, and then Afrobeats, and you can change.
But that's even worse because like everyone has different music playing in the air, so their vibe is different and their dancing is different, so we all look stupid.
I think it depends on the groupings because you can tell by the color. Like before the party starts, they tell you like red is for this, green is for that, blue is for that. So people who are listening to blue, if you see them moving a certain way, like oh I want to see what they're listening, you switch over, like oh this is my shit. You start dancing. One time at one given point, everyone had on the same like color. I forgot what it was. I think it was some Afrobeat song, and we're like oh this is our jam. We all had it. We had all switched to it. But I think it's dope from here and there, like. Because I was like, this is kind of weird, but let me just experience it. It's like, why not? And I thought it was dope. And also, it was like, it was that we were at a hall where vendors were like, you know, advertising their business, selling food, like CBD stuff. I thought it was cool. Like, oh, go to Great Way to expand your business and also have a good time while doing it. And then, you know, March rolls around. But also, the beginning of 2020, I knew it was going to be on some shit. Because January comes around and we get told Kobe died. And I said, y'all lying.
Oh, yes.
My brother cussed me out that Sunday and I'm like, scrolling through my phone, I'm like, yo, it just said Kobe just died. He's like, shut up. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yo, shut up. Like, why are you lying? I'm like, on Dead Dogs. I'm looking at my phone and it was saying that. Like, I would not lie about that. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, yo, y'all making up stories. Like, y'all stay claiming someone's dead when they're not dead. And TMZ was on the first. And breaking news. That shit shocked me. And they said around that time of Kobe's death, even though COVID was already a thing in China, they weren't making news about it here.
No.
But there were a few cases, but they weren't talking about it here. And I feel like that's why a lot of people say if we were to stop things at the earliest, at least February, it probably wouldn't have gotten that bad because it spread so badly. Part of it was still traveling because in March people were still traveling because they didn't completely shut everything down until that point. By then, numbers were already rising. No one knew what was going on. So we get told to go work from home. We didn't know how to teach from home. Like, how do you teach a class that's never been meant to be taught online? It's not like college where you can choose an online course. It's not the same, especially with high school kids. That year was very trying, especially the kids who planned to have prom, graduation. Oh my God. Graduation was so different that year. If you were planning to have prom, you definitely didn't have prom. That year was so weird for me, for everybody. towards the end of 2019, my oldest niece announced that she was pregnant. She had my great nephew, but it was like different that year because it's like it was the significant other. If once they're in the hospital, you can't just leave. Like you have to be there. Like you can't leave and go get stuff and come back. Like no, you gotta stay there. People can't come in and visit you. When she came home, we stayed away for a long time, and if we did come and visit, face masks were on. To go see her, she had to cancel her baby shower. Mm-hmm. Baby shower was planned to happen.
I remember you did a drive-by.
Yeah, we ended up doing like a drive-by baby shower. Everyone drove around with gifts and stuff. She wasn't expecting it either, so we surprised her with that. For my birthday that year, I ended up doing like a winery theme in my backyard, where just relax. Try different wines, and I made sure to purchase all the wines from like Black-owned companies because guys know I'm big on supporting Black businesses and stuff. So that year was different, and that's when I kind of started. Well, I was already starting talking to Wilson, aka his friends, but also on my list I put COVID ghetto, and then I wrote it again, COVID ghetto. We still dealing with COVID. In that year, we were just overly saturated with COVID numbers, like. Constantly hearing about,
but so many good things happen. Like, remember when Instagram Live was like a party?
Yes, Instagram Live. That's how we started. We got the chance to do the verses. Yep. Like that year when
it gave a lot of like our old school artists,
especially the reggae one with Beanie Man and Bounty Killer. Oh my God, that shit hit like. At the time, they said that was the most viewed one. It hit like over 1 million views that night. Seeing our best of the best artists from back in the day duke it out for their best songs. I thought that was so dope. It brought everyone together, especially in the comment section. Black Twitter was always thriving, but it was definitely thriving with keeping us laughing.
I feel like although 2020 kept us from a lot of our loved ones, we found alternatives to stay connected. And that's where I enjoyed it the most. Like, I don't have to physically be present, but I can still connect with you in other ways.
Like FaceTime, Zoom. Some people had Zoom parties.
Yes, my best friend, for her birthday, we did a Zoom party.
I thought it was cute, like, doing Zoom parties. Who would have thought, And I get it, and it also shows you as humans, we love connection and interaction, physical connection. And we can adapt. And I know us being indoors didn't sit well for those who thrived off of being a social butterfly, especially people with mental health conditions that didn't do too well. We know we lost a lot of lives in 2020, probably some of them unfortunately due to suicide because they couldn't stand being alone, especially if they were already living alone and being told that you have to stay in the house and now you're stuck home. And COVID, created a lot of things that was for good, but also negative things too. Some people, it changed them mentally. Some people, I feel like ever since we opened up, don't know how to probably didn't already know how to act, but already don't know. Made it 10 times worse now that outside is open and people are just losing their minds. But like you said, it did bring some good out of it. Find other ways. Like some people took up baking, doing other shit they never did. Like
yes, a lot of people had started small businesses, which now is creating massive revenue. Was able to get them out of the corporate space that they've been dying in, like literally internally dying in. That's probably why we have a lot of shortages in work. And
some people's like, I'm never going back. I can do this from home, like physically do
people
this from
tapped
home.
into their creativity, and that's what I loved about 2020. There was massive loss, right? Like due to COVID, whether death or whatever, or ending relationships because people couldn't handle it, but also people were procreating, having children. And so I'm like, nasty. I don't ever want to make it seem like, oh my God, 2020 was the greatest, because for some people it was the worst years of their lives. They lost like significant others to death, or family members to death, lost babies to COVID. Like there was so much loss, but there was also so much gained. So I want to pay attention. I want to stay focused on what was gained during that time.
I think it also did a reset. In a sense.
Yes.
Because I don't know if you guys noticed, if you guys are paying attention, even like some of the pages where I'm following, like certain parts of the world where humans, since we couldn't go outside, animals started to come out more. Because like, oh shit, y'all not out here. Like they said, even like the canal in Venice, it's always cloudy and dirty. It started to clear up because human pollution, it wasn't there. There's parts of the world where animals typically don't roam. They were roaming about because we weren't there. And so there was someone had made a post like maybe, COVID is bad it's killing us at high alarming numbers, but it's also maybe it's a reset for the earth.
Yeah.
Like us being sitting
giving
inside.
us a couple years back so that before climate change really hit us.
Listen, but 2020, like you said, there were losses, but there was also gains, and I think that's the thing that me and Jessica were trying to get at for this podcast. Like, there's a lot of accomplishments, a lot of losses, but there was also gains throughout the year, especially in 2020. Like, we know 2020 was ghetto, but at the same time, there was still good that came out of it.
Yeah.
We were still willing to help each other, doing things for each other, leaving stuff outside of people's doors for them.
Cultivating new relationships in different ways,
Yes.
whether it's like via Zoom, but online dating, whatever.
Yeah, and that was another way, too, to figure out. I think, like, 2020 forced people to see certain things. One, see, in the dating aspect, if this person was worth your time, because you had to think of creative ways to date this person because you couldn't physically go meet them somewhere. No. And then the person that you were dealing with already living in the house with you, you really saw who you was really dealing with because a lot of people always on the go, you only see each other at night, you didn't really get to connect with this person. So somebody was like, shit.
And that could be a reset. Like, so many things that you didn't get to see because you guys were always so rushed in a rush to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. Now you're forced to sit in it. Mm-hmm. And for some people, they ended relationships or dissolved relationships, but it wasn't a bad thing. It was like, hey, we aren't here anymore. Like, we're not the same person that we was when we met each other. Mm-hmm. Let's dissolve this relationship. And they freed themselves from that mundane feeling and like just like pace of life, and was able to cultivate new relationships and find who they were. So although I hate talking about 2020 as I feel like it was the best thing in the world, it still created a lot of great opportunities for people. So
I agree with you.
I'm going to focus on that part of
course.
2020.
One last thing. The one thing I did notice, and I was like, I knew this was not going to last long in the realm of 2020, was when people started to notice, like, the essential workers, whatever you deem essential. Like, you know, we appreciate y'all so much. Like, the realm where when doctors and nurses were changing shifts around like 7 a.m., 7 p.m., or 3 p.m., people outside their windows clapping and stuff like that. That shit stopped before 2020 even ended. Yeah. And then 2, at the height of the pandemic, when kids were forced to go home, for some reason, miraculous reason, a lot of people appreciated teachers more. And I'm like, so what do you think we were doing this whole time? Yeah. Like, parents were like, some were saying, oh my God, I'll buy you guys wine and stuff. But then when September started to roll around, some teachers were getting like told like, you guys don't do anything. What are you guys doing? Yeah. It's September. Why kids are back in school? Because schools are not even set in place for your child to be safe enough to be in the school. Right. We still dealing with the COVID. And at
the liability of your child getting sick.
And then there was no vaccine. There was none of that. So it's like, okay, if your kid catch COVID, now you're going to blame the school system for your kid catching COVID because we weren't properly suited to, deal with this. Yeah. So when that appreciation was being shown, I'm not saying I didn't take it. I did take it, but I took it with a grain of salt.
You knew it was going to
because I knew it was going to come to an end. Y'all going to get ready to cuss teachers out and treat us like babysitters. Because some of y'all was already asking, when y'all going back in? I am not your child's babysitter. I'm their educator to give them something to live their life. Yeah. But that was one thing I wanted to throw at the end here for 2020. Yeah. How was your 2020?
One more thing, and I promise we're going to go to 21. 2020 is also when a lot of like the police brutality thing was highlighted. And everyone just came together. And
the whole world, like, exactly.
The whole world. I think George Floyd was probably the one that was, like, international. Like, everybody was like...
You are right, because there was an article that came out saying, like, granted, there were civil rights movements taking place in the 60s. But this one, in the case of George Floyd, it was like a world event to the point so many countries were marching against what was going on here. And we're not saying police brutality has not been taking place for years now. It has, and it's still going. It hasn't changed.
But it like shook the world.
It shook the world because, and I think part of it was we're home. We saw with our own eyes what was happening. You can't
there was so much video evidence, like you couldn't deny it. So it was so bad. It was bad.
It was really bad, and I did participate in those marches. So
yeah. So all right, 2021 after a year of COVID.
We outside. That's what I was hearing.
2021. My godson was born after being what is it? After being created in 2020. What is it? My dad and my stepmom has been married for some years now. I want to say more than 15 years. Maybe like 17. But this was the first year because we realized 2020 made us realize how short our lives are and like how we need to be. it's not that we were never close, because you know how I am with my family. We're so fucking close. Mm-hmm. But we decided to, like, let's just start celebrating the wins. So my dad being married for that long was a win, okay? and not resulting in divorce. So we got together, we celebrated my dad and his wife's anniversary. I want to say it was their 18th anniversary or something like that. Finally moved into this apartment after months of, like, searching. When I moved, it was around the time that my sisters planned a sisters trip, and it was supposed to be all of us, but one of my sisters was helping her best friend plan a wedding, and they were going to go to the bachelorette weekend situation, and she's like, I can't do back-to-back vacations. Mm-hmm. So we decided to just make it the three of us, and we went to Aruba. So I moved. Every time I move into a new apartment, I go on vacation. I don't know. Anyways, but because I put so much money into moving here, because you got to pay the first, last, broker fee, all that other bullshit, and then you got the moving costs and whatever. I almost backed out of it, but my sisters were like, "You do so much for us," and so we thought we'd treat you. So they paid for my flight and my stay. All I had to do was bring money for food, which was dope, and I'm forever grateful for my sisters. We started the podcast. She sent me a voice note per usual, saying this is my idea and I couldn't think of anybody else. And I don't know if she's lying, but she's like, I couldn't think of anybody else.
I was dead ass.
So I wanted to know if you were down. In my head, I'm like, bitch, are you fucking dumb? Like, that's how I thought about it when I listened to it. I'm like, yo, she got me fucked up. She think I'm about to do a podcast with her, knowing how shy and private I am. And then I thought about it some more, and I was having conversations with my boss around this time because she wanted me to take on more projects, but that involved me talking in front of groups of people, and I was so scared to talk in front of groups, and I was like, okay, maybe this will be the stepping stone for me to be comfortable with the idea of talking in front of people. Although there's not a crowd in front of us, not a group in front of us, I know people are watching and listening to us, so. And it's going to help me with, like, my public speaking. Because I stutter a lot. I repeat myself. All the things. So, I was like, okay, let's do this. So we did it. And we're here now. I dedicated so I went to Florida right after my Aruba trip to dedicate my godson to God. My best friend got married. Who the fuck got married? My best friend got married. Oh! Greg and Jen got married. It was a beautiful wedding.
I thought they got married before that.
No, they definitely did. So who the hell got married?
Shit. Greg, I apologize.
No, they definitely got married because I was living in that apartment by myself.
Yeah, because I remember when
who
you invited me, but I didn't think it was gonna work. It wasn't me.
Bitch, I'm fucking bugging. My sister announced she was pregnant. And then that same year we had the baby shower and the engagement. We started the visual, because we started the audio when she first presented this to me, but then we started the visual shortly after that in the same year.
There are so many requests, so I hope those requests are the people watching.
It needs to translate with the views. The numbers is not translating. Mm-hmm. And then I just made sure that 2021, because 2020 was such a wash with spending time with family as much as I would have liked. I decided to spend a lot more time with my family, so I did that. So I did a lot of, like, family things. Just, I can't even go down the list because there's too many, but we spent a lot of quality time together. So that was it. 2021 was pretty quiet.
2021.
And when I say quiet, I mean, like, there was no drama.
I would say I started off saying itinerary because I took a lot of trips that year. So the beginning of that year, since still working from home, I went to NYC with my friend, and what we did, we went to just relax, try new foods, try different restaurants, hookah, and then bring our asses back to Boston, which we did. The April vacation went to PR. Celebrated my boyfriend's 35th birthday. He was not going to do anything for his 35th, y'all. And I said, that's a milestone. So I did like a brunch style birthday for him. And then the following month went to Vegas for my friend's birthday. Went to the Cape. That was it my first time going there? I think that was like my second time doing the Cape. And then I also got in a helicopter for the very first time with the doors open. It wasn't a closed door. The door would close. No, I lied. The door was closed. But once you got to a certain point, it could open. And we were so strapped in that seat. It was actually more secure to be in the helicopter than it is on a plane. The plane has that one little measly seat belt. This one had the seat belt going over here.
Almost like a baby's
car seat.
Car seat.
And there were times where the pilot would say you can have your legs hanging out. I had my legs hanging out on the edge. Like, I couldn't get out of the seat, but my legs were hanging out. I felt so cool to be in the air looking at New York City. And the guy explained to us, what's this, what's that. I thought it was pretty dope. But it wasn't just for me. Me and two other girls went for my friend's birthday. We literally went to New York for like a day and then came back the next day. I celebrated my 35th that year too, and also me completing my master's. I didn't officially graduate at that time. I graduated a month later, but I had officially completed all the credits. I was done, so I did one big celebration in one. Then I graduated in October, and what I thought was dope is the commencement speaker was Common. I was like, me and a few of the black people that graduated, we knew who he was. Everybody else was like, I don't know, maybe that's like some rapper. I'm like, oh God, Lord Jesus. And yes, they were. But I took a leave of absence from work for my mental sake. I think at that point, from the end of 2019 all the way up until that point, I was always on the go. And then COVID hit. I never slowed down. I was like taking my online classes for my master's and then working my other job. I had like 2 jobs plus work, being a student. And I wasn't doing my master's part-time. It was damn near full-time. So I was taking like 3-4 classes at a time. And 3 to 4 classes every 8 weeks. You do the math. While working full-time, teaching at that, and then working another job. While running businesses. So, don't ask me. And then eventually it got to that point where, I didn't have to do the schooling anymore. I think we were back in the building now, in person. So it was having to adjust to in person was still a lot for a lot of people. And not having to do so much. I think at that time when my body finally slowed down, my brain finally caught up with my body. It was like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not in the right mental space. I think I need time off from work. I forgot to add it. I went to Houston for the first time too. I forgot to add that too on here. I took a leave of absence from work, and I think I needed that. I needed that time away from work to do what I need to do, reset, recharge, reorganize everything around me. So that was my 2021. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but that's what I could remember.
This year.
Ooh, Lord.
It tried me. It was almost on the brink of like, I don't even know. I don't even want to speak it into existence, but it tried me. But we survived. 2020 started off with my niece being born.
2022?
Oh my God, see? 2022.
2020 keep pulling you back. I don't know why.
2022. My niece was born. After we celebrated the baby shower and the engagement. Oh my God, I didn't even say that. In 2021, my sister announced she was pregnant. Then we had the baby shower and she was engaged. She was proposed to at the baby shower. All right, so cool. January, the baby was born. My beautiful, beautiful baby.
Why did I think it's December?
She was born in January. She was due in December, but
Yeah. Okay, now I got it.
Baby girl being baby girl. She does what the fuck she wants. She's proven that time and time again. Unfortunately, a month later, my sister lost her fiance and my niece lost her dad, which was really fucking hard for my whole family. It was like, it was like losing a brother.
So unexpected.
Right, exactly. It was bad. I'm trying not to go past it as if it was like a thought. But it's something that makes me super emotional. You don't want to dwell on it too long. We ain't about to cry on here, okay? And then, damn, see, that shit just like threw me off. Okay. So in 2022, because we were going through the pandemic for so many years, my cousin and I decided that we were going to do a lot of intimate concerts. So we went to a lot of concerts throughout the year. Some of my favorite memories are like my concert dates with my cousin, because we'll do like the intimate concerts. We don't really care for like the big TD Garden, big night live, like that's no. But like those intimate, like little hole in the wall concerts, my jam. Oh, fuck, damn, so many things happened. So 2021, my brother also proposed to his girlfriend, who he's been with for like, I think 8 years.
You mean 22?
No, he proposed to her in 21.
Oh, okay.
And so in 2022, we celebrated the wedding. We went to the wedding. What the fuck? Oh, my grandfather. Did my grandfather pass away this year? Oh, yeah, he did. My dad, early in the year, January, I forgot, purchased the home. Yo, my brain is all over the place because it's not in order. So my dad purchased the home, a second home in January. My niece was born in January. We lost my brother-in-law in February. My brother got married. I went to a lot of concerts. I'm gonna put this at the end, but one of my sisters announced she was pregnant in the summertime, so another baby. And then my other sister just announced her pregnancy in fall, so we have 2 babies on the way. Well, one baby's here now, thank God, my little baby. And so yeah, and then we're just waiting for the baby number 3. So all my nieces and nephew is gonna be so close. And I just love that for them, because I couldn't imagine my childhood, what it would be like without my cousins.
My kid's gonna be upset because their cousin's gonna be the huge gap.
Well, they'll have Kaden and the new baby.
Yeah, that's not it.
The new baby's they're gonna be best friends because they're gonna be close in age. I celebrated my 35th birthday, and I thought I was like, oh my God. I felt like new beginnings were happening, but I actually fell into deeper depression after, and I fucking hated it. I hated everything about it. But my family, because I didn't want to do anything for my birthday, they pulled some strings and planned like a whole weekend for me, and I'm so appreciative of them. I love them so fucking much. I literally don't know what the fuck I would be doing right now if it wasn't for my family. So we have, yeah. Okay, but I wanted to say this. In 2022, I wanted to reflect on the fact that because of this podcast, I met some really amazing people this year. Like dope ass people, great conversation. And I think it would have never been the case. I don't think I would have ever met these people if it wasn't for this podcast. So I'm extremely grateful in 2022 that we started this podcast. Well, we didn't start in 2022, but what I'm saying is meeting new people, having conversations that make me uncomfortable, having conversations that are funny and sad, and just the spectrum, I'm super grateful for. And this bitch being in my house all the fucking time and coming here like there's gonna be food and there's never food. She's always hungry when she comes to my house knowing there's never food in my house.
So what are you gonna do when I'm pregnant? You're gonna feed me?
Girl, you better figure it out. Don't come to my house hungry. Do not come to my house hungry.
But you know, food only lasts like maybe 2 hours in a pregnant woman's belly. So
right. So bring a little to-go bag.
I'm gonna bring the to-go bag to you to eat at your house.
Yeah.
You're supposed to provide me a to-go plate.
Oh my God.
But anywho, 2022.
I'm about to go to the fucking soup kitchen for your ass.
Shut up. 2022, I started off a new business venture, which you guys should know by now. It's a venue space. I went to New Orleans. New Orleans. It was cool. I loved it. Then went to Jamaica for my friend's birthday. It was cool. Yeah, that was another episode of constantly drinking and being in the sun. Foot looked like being sausages. It was crazy. Feet were so swollen. Even especially back from getting on the plane, because you know you had a high elevation. Yeah, it's like, God, I hope it's not a blood clot traveling anywhere, please. Yeah, I told my doctor what happened. She's like, okay, as long as it's not still swollen, you should be fine now. And I was like, no, I went back. After like day 2 of being back in the States and drinking consistent amount of water and not being in the sun all day with unlimited amount of alcohol. And that was the issue. it's like 9 o'clock in the morning, mimosa me. And I'm going to drink it.
Instead of ringing the bell, you're shaking your glass. Like.
Yep. Mimosa me, and I was eating jerk chicken all the time. Mangoes, all that. I enjoyed the food. I had a damn good time there. Went to the Cape again. I started a new position in September at my job. Oh, also one of my friends got married this year. I was a bridesmaid. Finally being able to complete the venue space. So yes, it's open now. People have been booking, especially for events for next year, which I'm excited about. We celebrated our 1-year anniversary of Uncomfortable Girl podcast.
Sorry, I forgot that.
Well, whatever you forgot, I ended up mentioning.
Yeah. Okay.
So, we started season 4. Well, this year it was season 3 and 4. We ended season 2.
Season 4. Go. That's all I'm gonna say.
Season 4. I like all the other seasons, but I feel like this season was like really. Ooh, my stomach being disrespectful. All day you've been quiet. Now I want to embarrass me.
Embarrass me.
I like season 4 a little bit more because of the topics.
Okay, no, I'm not talking about the topics. I'm talking about the challenges.
No, I know, but I'm saying I'm saying season 4 in general. Like I said, season 4.
Is your favorite because of the topics and the discussions we've had?
Yeah, and we did some improvement, like lighting and stuff like that. But every single fucking season since we started last year,
it's a new challenge.
There was a new challenge
and another one.
It's like it never fails, right? So it was just trying us. And still being mentally aware, being aware of my mental health, checking that at the door, being honest about it. Like just earlier this week, I told Jessica, I'm like, from the end of last week till now, I haven't been feeling like myself and blah, blah, blah. And she gave me the space like, look, if you're not in the mood to do 2 recordings, let's just do 1. Yeah. And I was like, I'll let you know how I feel the next day. You know, I'm in my funk now, but who knows, I might be up to doing 2 or 3 recordings, whatever. And being honest about it. And I think that's the thing as humans, I get it, we're scared of how people are going to react and if they're going to use what we tell them against us. But it's like, if you have that circle of friends or family that respect your feelings and how you are as a human being and know that we're not robots, we have feelings and our feelings can change at any given moment for whatever reason. I feel like that's the best thing to have. Like you can tell people like, look, I'm not my typical self. I'm not feeling it. So whatever that I did plan on doing, I cannot be myself 100% to do it for you.
Right.
So instead of half-assing it, and we have this sense of perfection thing, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. So I feel like if we respect people when they tell us that and honestly do it, and honestly, they're honest with us in general about how they're feeling at that moment, I think things can go smoothly. And honestly, for 2023, well, no. Sorry. And we're not there yet. But what I will say is at this point, towards the end of 2022, I'm just trying to make it to 2023. That's what we're trying to do.
Oh, fuck. Just trying to get to 2023. I don't blame you.
Just trying to make it.
I want to give a few questions because I don't want to pull up the questions that I sent you. But we had 2 questions. I'm gonna ask the question. I'm gonna give a very brief answer to the question, Peggy too, and then we're gonna share some of that was shared on our Instagram. Sorry guys, I got hiccups now. Fuck! Alright, so we wanted to ask our listeners and followers, what's your proudest accomplishment in the last 5 years? For me, I would say taking on a job that I didn't think I was equipped for and killing that shit. Now I just need to figure out what's my next move because I feel like I'm in this complacency. Like I know how to do my job. I do it very well. That's not the question. I need something to challenge me a little more. I've already completed the challenge. So I think my accomplishment was overcoming my fear of starting new, and then starting new, going through the uncomfortableness of it, and then just conquering it. That's what I'm most proud of in the last 5 years. What about you?
Paying off things that I thought I would never be able to pay off due to, financial situations. Mm-hmm. Getting my credit up to where it needed to be. I forgot to mention that. And then being more aware of myself and comfortable enough to try different
definitely
things.
said, what is one thing you...
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm tired. Paying off things.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What did other people share?
So someone put paying off their car. Another person, which I really like, said giving myself the space to get to know my adult self and being open to new challenges. We have to know our adult selves because we're adults for the rest of our lives. We're only children for a short period of time. So I think that is dope. Getting the time and giving yourself space to know your adult self. I like that.
Yep. As far as the next question, so do you still have a goal to check off? What goal are you hoping to accomplish? Is there a goal that you haven't done yet that you're hoping to accomplish this year?
For 2023? Mm-hmm. I would like to buy a home with my significant other.
Boeing! No, sorry.
This fucking bitch.
For me, I think the goal, I don't know where I want to live permanently, so that's what's impeding on my goal to purchase. I know I don't want children, and marriage is kind of like up in the air for me. Like, I don't know if I want it or I do want it. So buying like a house is probably not gonna be what I want to do. I'm thinking more like a townhouse or condo. Yeah, 100%.
You give me condo, Auntie Rich vibes. Yeah,
floor to ceiling windows. Okay. So I'm just trying to make sure that I purchase where I want to live for a very long time.
Some of our viewers mentioned podcasts to do well and help my wife with her new clothing line. That's dope. More financial freedom. Been putting in that work with this year, so next year I can travel more.
Yes. I agree with the financial freedom part.
Jesus.
I need more of that. I feel like I've been more financially stuck this year. A lot of it is being reckless and not being more responsible. So I need to do that.
Treat yourself. That's what I be.
I'm like $50 in my account. Mail is $49.99.
Just put that
purchase. Purchase. I hate it for myself, but whatever. I'm giving myself the grace that I've been that way because I've been so depressed and like overstimulated and just tired. And so I'm always like, what can I do to make myself happy in this very short period? It is what it is.
Delivered.
Delivered. What are you leaving in 2022? For me, I'm leaving self-doubt. I doubt myself in a lot of spaces. I use excuses as to why things can't get done or why I can't do certain things. But I no longer want to live in that space. I really want to see what my full potential self looks like. And I'm going to push myself in a way that I've never done before. So give me grace if I'm being mean. Yeah. So I'm a little nervous for 2023. But I know what I'm definitely leaving in 2022 is self-doubt. What are you leaving in 2022, bitch?
I'm thinking. I don't know.
You had fucking days to think about the same question.
Because, look at me. I'm perfect. There's nothing to leave.
You're perfectly fucking annoying.
I shall say, you know they can hear that through the mic.
I want y'all to hear that for the people listening.
Don't know what she hit her scalp.
Fucking knocking my head because this girl's irritating me. You know what's funny? I know you guys see me scratching my head a lot, but when I'm irritated or like when I'm like anxious, I do this a lot. It's not because my head's itching. Sometimes it is, but for most times it's irritating me.
Shut up. I was going to say self-doubt because I still have my moments where I'm doubting myself in certain situations where it's like, I ain't gonna do that because I'm not ready for that. I don't know if it's because I'm naturally not ready or I'm just too scared.
For me, it's fair.
So it could be a little bit of both or one or the other. I don't know. There's plenty of things I feel like I passed up on because of self-doubt. Like, no, I'm gonna embarrass myself. I'm not about to do it. I'm gonna look stupid.
Yeah.
So, I want to leave that behind, but you know, oops, sorry about the mic. Definitely that stuff will take time. It's not something that we can get over. I think it's with a lot of practice and like positive mind frame, like telling ourselves we can do this without psyching ourselves out of it will help us eventually. Yeah. Okay, our listeners wrote negativity. They're trying to let go of negativity. And the other person put, oh my God. One person put self-doubt.
Really?
Yeah, they definitely put self-doubt. That is the theme here. My level 10 attitude of over it. LOL, gonna get to fear level of 7.
Fear levels. I I love that.
Whoever shared that, thank you. I get it. Certain things will set you off so quick, and it's like there's no in between. It's 0 to 100.
Yep, me.
Never like 0 to like soft 60.
No.
But you're gonna work me to the 100. There's like no straight there.
Yeah, guys, this was interesting.
What we like to say, we are all work in progress. None of us are perfect. We realize, me and Jessica doing this made us realize like a lot happened in those 5 years. And some I know we probably missed because sometimes your memory can get a little foggy. You forget.
Or there's so much happening that like it's not relevant in comparison to the other things.
The major things that probably took place. Not saying those other things aren't important.
No.
Trust me and believe. I'm pretty sure after we're done recording, we're gonna remember like, oh my God, this actually happened. We forgot to mention it. Yep. But we realized like this was a good way to reflect. And those of you who are watching, maybe you should sit down and take a couple of sheets of paper and write down what has happened to you between 2018 and 2022. Your wins, your losses, your gains, your accomplishments, and also think of things you want to let go of if you haven't, or you've been working on it for the last 5 years and you're like, yo, this year I really want to work on this thing that I've been mentioning every year. Let me work on that. And also give yourself grace. And if you fall back into your old habits, it takes a while to break old habits. Isn't it like 21 days to gain a new habit or break old ones? I feel like
it's more than that, to be fair. I feel like one thing that we don't talk about is discipline. Yes. Discipline conquers all fear, doubt, everything. Like if you don't have discipline in certain areas, discipline is what's gonna get you up even though you don't want to.
Yeah, I don't have discipline in food.
I have no fucking discipline.
In food, I don't.
Someone actually commented on one of our posts when we were talking about procrastination, because you love to remind me. And I was like, oh my God, I fucking hate it. And I don't know what he said, but he said like that like mundane feeling, that like whatever, he combats it by working out. And that's something I really want to start doing. But I'm not even gonna lie to myself right now. Fucking hate it. I hate working out. Like I hate it with a passion. And I don't know if it's because I hate it because I don't know what I'm doing in the gym, or if it's like it doesn't seem like something I want to do.
I know I don't care to do the gym by myself, so I started back up with my trainer. I hit her up, so we're gonna start doing it again. Ready for January. I'm gonna start up again. Part of it, me slowing down on it and not doing it anymore. One was budgeting because due to this new venture, it took up so much of my time. Now that we have most of this thing out the way, now I can work into my schedule, my trainer. I need someone sitting up in front of me. We're gonna do 3 sets of this, 4 sets of this. Okay, you're doing good. Motivate me to continue. Because I will be at the gym. I've gone to the gym. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I know I'm supposed to put 20 minutes, but my ass was like, no, I'm gonna do 12. And then the moment I start sweating, I'm like, let me slow this down a little bit more. So I'm not.
You know what's funny? When I feel sweat, I'm like, push harder.
That's good.
I don't know why.
Like I used to get those feelings where I used to be like, oh my God, I feel good with working out. Because when you work out, you do release those good endorphins in your brain to motivate you to do well. But I'm just not feeling it, and I feel like I realize, knowing myself a little bit better, I need that person. Yeah. I don't care for the classes. Like some people like to do like Zumba classes and stuff like that, and they do great in it. It's just not me. But I realize, no, I need someone there pushing me, motivating me, and we set up a time frame. I'm telling you,
like, because sometimes I don't know if I have good form. I could potentially be hurting myself in the process.
Especially at our age. Yeah, we cannot afford to be pushing up in our
disc is just to the left.
Now your doctor says, yeah, your vertebrae is rubbing against something else, so you need surgery, ma'am. Like, no.
No, I don't want that.
But yes, giving ourselves grace to realize we may fall back into our old habits.
Yeah, but the discipline is needed.
The discipline is needed. And then recognizing when you're fucking up, like, oh shit, I gotta, like, and we personally have to hold ourselves accountable. Yeah. Like, I know I've been sucking bad, like, I'm going back to eating my old eating habits or whatever the case may be. Just recognize it, acknowledge it, and then realize what you could do better after. Mm-hmm. We are our biggest motivators and doubters at the same time. Yep. We can motivate ourselves, but also pull ourselves down. Like, we are our own biggest critics.
Yeah.
Like, I realized that as an adult more. Like, damn, I really be criticizing the fuck out of myself.
You can't say anything to me that I have not already said to myself.
And we create our own scenarios.
Right.
We jump to conclusions. Like I said before.
If you need help trying to criticize me, I got some.
I got something for that ass. Exhibit A. I already did this already.
It's a Rolodex full of fucking criticism that I've given myself. Okay. But I want to say thank you guys for listening. This is one of our longest ones yet this season. I tried to keep it on an hour, but to recap 5 years is just impossible.
Yeah.
So I'm just proud that we even got to an hour and a half. So thank you guys. Love you guys. See you next episode.